Hi and welcome to my video on my choices for the best albums so far of 2022. Now these are my choices, yours might differ wildly, I'm sure they will. If you want to post up in the comments section what you feel are the best albums to be released so far this year, then I'd love to see that, and maybe you'll turn me on to some new music and maybe I'll do that for you guys. But these are my choices. The Tipping Point, Tears for Fears, which are the duo Roland Orzabal and Curtis Smith. Now these guys returned with their first album in over 18 years, and to me it was a corker from top to bottom, full of wonderfully crafted pop rock songs, full of melody, hooks and fantastic playing and production. Now the story behind the album is that the band for a while were kind of going through the motions. The audiences mainly just wanted to hear the hits, and in an attempt to recreate that classic Tears for Fears sound and probably to get more hits, they were paired with fashionable producers and songwriters, just to create hits. Thankfully this came to nothing, and Roland and Curtis decided to do it themselves, get back to basics, start writing songs like they used to, just sitting around playing acoustic guitars, and they ended up producing, in my opinion, the finest album of their career. Like I said, it's beautifully produced and played, but beware, it's raw and unguarded. It's uncompromising. It's about how we face the challenges of middle life and all the lumps and bumps, joys and triumphs that brings. But it's also about having hopes and dreams for the future. Album number 2, Kirk Hammett, Portals. Now, most of you will be aware that Kirk Hammett is the guitarist for Metallica. And in reality, this is an EP. It clocks in around 27 minutes and a second. But back in the day, there were plenty of albums that clocked in around about this time, or even lower. So for the purposes of this review, I'm going to call it Kirk's first solo album. In the past, when people have stepped away from mega bands, yes, Genesis, Metallica today, the results can be kind of mixed. They can be brilliant, they can be mediocre, or they can be just a period of time to have off and to indulge with your mates. So you've got to kind of be wary when you're looking at these solo projects. Kirk Hammett himself describes the music like this. This music was created with what I describe as an audio cinematic approach. They're soundtracks to the movies in your mind. Well, to me they sound like they could be the soundtrack to a science fiction epic or a zombie apocalypse. Also these days, a lot of extended music, especially in the prog rock genre, and I guess you could call Portals prog rock, kind of leaves me cold. It's the same old, going around the same old mulberry bush. Well, Mr. Hammett has surprised me, and I guess he'll go on to surprise a lot of people, because the music here bursts with invention. It's got lovely light and shade, it's got different moods, it's wonderfully creative is what I'm trying to say. And of course the guitar playing is something else. And again, it's not just mindless shredding. It's not just shredding for the sake of shredding. Not technique for technique's sake. Take a listen, because I was, like I said, very, very surprised by this, and it is definitely worth having a listen to. Give it the 27 minutes, lie back, close your eyes, put it on and just drift away. It's great music. Strictly a One-Eyed Jack, John Mellencamp. Now over the years I've dipped in and out of John's career, and to be fair, I hadn't heard him for a while. And on first listen, his now gravelly croak kind of surprised me. It's somewhere in between Dylan and Tom Waits. And the songs here could have been written at any time over the last 100 years. So rooted are they in country, blues and Americana. Don't come to this album if you're looking for some easy listening. Mellencamp takes no prisoners. He's as brutal, raw and uncompromising as it gets on love, life and the human condition. But One-Eyed Jack is a rich, deep musical journey, but not for the faint-hearted. One of the bands I've had great affection for, and I've seen many times over the years and probably bought all their albums, is the Blue Oyster Cult. One of the main reasons I like the Blue Oyster Cult is because they combine hard, heavy rock, great musicianship, but the songs are laced with hooks, melodies, and they come up with just killer song after killer song after killer song. Even their last album, The Symbol Remains, it's full of songs with great melodies, hooks, and that's what I like about my heavy rock. So when Ghost's new album Impera arrived, it was musical heaven for me. It's exactly what I want from my heavy rock. You know, great driving rock songs, you know, great solos. Yeah, there are echoes of Europe and Def Leppard in there, maybe even a little Boston in there, and dare I say it, even a hint of Fleetwood Mac. And it won't appeal to a die-hard metal fan. I can see that. Well, most die-hard metal fans. But for me, it's musical heaven. It's exactly what I want. I want to go and stand in a field, watch them play, and wave my lighter. Yes, it's an album full of stadium rock bangers. Now, on this next selection, I'm convinced I'm going to get a lot of stick. But I would ask you to go and listen to the album before you crucify me. It's Yelawolf and Shooter Jennings. Shooter Jennings, I believe, unless I'm way out of line, is Waylon Jennings' son. Now, so you've got a Shooter Jennings who's blues, rock, Americana, and you've got Yelawolf the rapper. Now that should result in an absolute dire album. Oil and water don't mix. But imagine there's a world where rap, hip-hop, country, blues, the Cars, Cheap Trick, classic pop, the Beatles, folk, even a little bit of Rush. Now, chuck all this stuff into a melting pot and watch it change, watch it evolve, watch it mutate. And this is what this album does. It's an absolute shocker, in a good way, of an album. It's absolutely brilliant, and I would ask you to suspend your disbelief and go and have a listen to it. Now, before this album, I wasn't really that aware of Shooter Jennings. Yelawolf I knew. I didn't like his rap stuff. I'm not a great rap fan. The occasional track here and there, yeah, but his albums left me cold. Though what he did do very sporadically was he dropped these wonderful little songs just here and there over his career, and they were nothing to do with rap. They were just these wonderful rock songs, and I thought, that man's got a great album in him. At some point he's got a great rock album in him, and here it is. Now, my last selection I definitely will get stick for, but again, I would ask you to go and listen to the album before you put me on the cross and get the nails out. Over the years I've dipped in and out of country rock music. In fact, I was in a training camp one time and the only radio station we could pick up was a country music station. So I've listened to a lot, and bits and pieces I like, and you know, it's turned me on to a few things like Lucinda Williams, Emmylou Harris creates great albums, but on the whole the genre left me cold and disinterested. Now, I've got a mate in the States called Corey, and he kept telling me about Jason Aldean. You've got to listen to this guy. And one day I was at work, ran out of music, and I just thought, oh, I'll pop it on. And you know what? I absolutely loved it. And I played it. A measure of a good album for me is if I can finish it and then I want to hear it again immediately. And I must have played this album here, Georgia, 4 times, 5 times straight on the bounce. Yes, I know Jason Aldean has a bunch of songwriters. He has a team of songwriters writing songs for him, and they're all about whiskey and loss and heartbreak and cowboys and all of this stuff. But the songs are brilliant. And you know what? My ears picked up a lot of Bob Seger in those songs. I love Bob Seger. If you don't know Bob Seger, go and check him out. Brilliant 70s music icon. And you know what? I turned YouTube on, and what was the first video? Jason Aldean and Bob Seger. And Bob Seger obviously held this guy in high regard, holds this guy in high regard. So, yeah, brilliant songs, great hooks, a kick-ass band, everything that you would wish for. And you know, at the end of the album there are 5 live tracks and they are just killer. So you can hear exactly what this guy does in concert. And here I'll sound like a broken record myself, but it's full of hooks, melodies, great playing, exactly what I want. And you know, those wonderful pop melodies which are meat and drink for me. So it's something that I absolutely lap up, and my 4-year-old son thinks it's wonderful as well. So he's a good judge. His tastes go right across the board, from Frank Sinatra to Led Zeppelin. So play it to him. And it's the first album, or it's the first CD that I've ever bought him, because he loves it that much. So yeah, great album. You know, crucify me if you want, but it's the most enjoyable album I've heard this year. So thanks for listening. Please let me know what your choice is, what your favourite music of 2022 so far has been. You might agree with my choices, you might disagree, but please let me know. And you never know, I might turn you onto some new music, and if you tell me what your choices are, you might turn me onto some new music. Take care, God bless, and thanks for supporting the channel.